Morning, guys.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing? Oh, you're wearing your orange vest today, huh?
Yeah, I figured I'd do it in solidarity with you losers. The losers who partook Saturday night.
I
I'm
didn't
just
go fetch
glad
my orange vest.
I'm just glad you watched the show and saw
I
what fun we
I have
had.
I have so many beefs. First of all, you used my lesbian-looking picture on Facebook. I'm about to delete you on Facebook.
I don't
Oh yeah,
know
we
why.
did make fun of you for a little while, didn't we? Sorry about
I
that.
don't
I didn't
know.
expect you to go back and listen to it. I just did it because you weren't there.
I don't know why any of you are still Facebook friends with me after the pictures that I pulled for the fantasy draft and now this. Like, I'm surprised you haven't all. I'm
I
surprised
don't
you
have
hadn't
any
all
bad
blocked me.
pictures on there, dude. I'm pleased with my photos.
That's fine.
Hush, dogs.
Honestly,
Handle this.
I can excuse the fantasy football one a little bit more because I'm in high school. Their senior picks, everyone's senior picks are cringe like that. But you chose the one in which I look like a lesbian.
Can't have cringe senior picks if you don't graduate.
Or there's that.
Yeah.
My biggest beef with you guys though is Tom Brady isn't a vegan.
Okay, cool.
He does have a weird diet, and he doesn't eat meat very much. And he does eat eggs. I don't think vegans are allowed to eat eggs, but he constantly talks about how his cheat meal is a cheeseburger.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
And I don't think he means. Are you eating a cheeseburger?
No, it's chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I don't think.
But it looks like a
the
cheeseburger.
fake meat.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Also, I'm taking this off. I hate this thing.
we raised the chicken ourselves. My wife made the bread herself yesterday, and the cheese I stole from Clyde's cheese fridge when I saw him a couple weeks ago. So it's all kind of a homemade thing.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's not bad. So Brady eats cheeseburgers. That's cool.
That's all I got.
That's cool.
So-
So football
Stream.
happened yesterday. How'd you guys do?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know. Clyde still got some players left, but I think I'm going to win.
I got just like a whole string of notifications popped up on my phone between ESPN and Yahoo Fantasy Football Leagues, and like 8 of my players were not going to be playing. I was like, all right, well, just fuck me running then. I guess I'm not going to win anything today. I still have a chance to go 2-2 this weekend because I'm in 4 leagues, and the only one that really matters is Mark's family league that I've still got to give Mark his $20 for because it looks like I'm just going to keep winning in that one and probably
I'm gonna keep losing.
I'm going to take all the money on that one. So, if every other team that I have sucks and I win money at the end of the season, it was a success.
I mean,
It's
in
a
the
long
end, is
season.
money really what matters?
Like the only thing.
When it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah, not
Yes.
wives, not
Money and
children,
brand.
none of those things. Money is it. That's the only thing that matters.
Hell
I
yeah.
say that because I have the kids in the truck and we're on the way to school.
I didn't
In the
get any
middle of
message from you about trucks.
In the middle of a fucking tsunami. So I'm probably going to have to drop off of here in a second because I can't even see the road right now.
We've gotten to the point of the year here where I live where we've gotten accumulated enough rain to where like the ground is full. So there's giant puddles all over my property. Like I have to wear mud boots just to go to the mailbox. It's crazy. It hasn't been that bad the last couple years. I don't even think we had that like the last couple years, but typically it's about like, August, September. It gets really gross. It sucks because the birds. It's not so healthy being such like a wet environment. So usually we lose a few of the older, weaker birds. They just sort of crap out on us. Everything's just gross. It sucks. But hopefully, rain will hold off here for another few days, and some of that will dry up. Yesterday, we were like, "Oh, let's go set some fence posts and walk outside." And we're like, "Oh yeah, we can't dig fence posts. There's, because they just fill back in with mud as you dig them this time of year. So it's well, I guess we're not doing that today. Oh well."
Here we are. You guys didn't partake in any weather talk the other night, so apparently it's just this foursome that talks about the weather.
Super appropriate today with Justin's situation, so I figured I'd chime in with our rain scenario. We're getting some rain too, brother. I feel you.
It's just really hot here. I'm sick of it. It's not supposed to be this hot in September. I went to that Renaissance fair yesterday. It was like mid 80s.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
It was packed, but it was fun.
That's cool. Were there some hot wenches?
There were a lot of outfits, and they varied, and some of the women looked good in them, and some of them probably should have worn more clothing.
Hey, it's the one time of year that those trolls really get to go be themselves, dude. They
live
at Renaissance Fair. You gotta just let it go. I know it's not pleasant to look at, but let them have their fun. It's their moment. You're in their world now, buddy.
Yeah, I guess I just look away. I guess the funniest thing that happened is when we were entering the place. Guy walks up with no shirt, and they're like, they're like, you have to wear a shirt, no nips, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, this dude probably should wear a shirt. But it's funny that he was forced to put on a shirt, and some of the outfits the women were wearing out there is like, eh.
But if nipples were the qualifier, could you just put on pasties?
This is true. It was the nipples.
Yeah.
Did you get to watch any jousting or
I saw some jousting, saw some magic from a pirate. I don't think they actually let pirates in those Renaissance festivals back in the day, though, so that seemed kind of unrealistic. Ate a turkey leg, of course.
Of course. Were there any glass blowing or like good mead or ales?
There was some glass blowing there. I assume there was good ale. I didn't partake.
I forget.
There were lots of signs for it, so lots of inebriated folks.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've never been to a Renaissance festival, and it always seems like it'd be fun, like it'd be an experience if nothing else. But I just haven't given enough of a fuck to make it happen, I suppose.
I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, probably.
You would definitely enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very good time. Definitely people that you would like to be around. Were there any of the chicks like climbing the giant ropes and twisting themselves up in that and doing all that stuff? Those are always entertaining.
There was an exhibit called. So I didn't see it because we missed the time for it, but it was called Good, Clean, Fun, Wet, Dirty Women.
All right.
So I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, but it sounds like a dag time.
You didn't think to throw in a nickel or whatever you got to pay to take a gander and just see?
We had a magic show.
Good, clean, fun.
The magic sucked, but yeah, it's
the magic show. Funny.
I went to one in New Jersey, and they had like a whole big like field set up, and all these guys are out there in armor and stuff, and like they had all of their weapons, but they had like foam padding on their axes and swords and stuff, so they couldn't actually like hurt each other. But they're out there just like beating the shit out of each other. It was fucking hilarious. It was like, man, I want some armor and like go out there and just beat the hell out of these dudes too.
The coolest thing actually was these guys, maybe Justin knows what this is called. They're throwing a 56-pound weight like over a bar, and they keep heightening the bar. So it's like a competition to see like how far up they can throw this thing over the bar.
I can't remember what that one is. I can't remember what that one's called exactly. They do that kind of stuff at the like the Highland Games. They do
it with kegs, right? Throw kegs or something.
There's boulders. I can't remember what that one's called either. There's the caper toss, which is where they like throw a phone pole, and then love you, bye. Then there's the one where they throw boulders. They have others where they have like these big giant like metal bell looking things, and they throw those. Like We need to find like a Highlands Games somewhere that's relatively where we could all travel and like go to like a live episode watching gigantic men throw telephone poles. That'd be hilarious.
Sounds like a very Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia kind of activity. I've been to like some I don't know what like woodsman lumberjack kind of like events before when I was a kid. I remember seeing like the like chainsaw carving and like the where they race sawing stuff and log rolling. I got to go try log rolling, and at least a young me had a pretty hard time with it. Like it looks easier than it is. I'd take a crack at it again.
Yeah, the lumberjack thing sounds good. I will confirm I did not wear a kilt or any sort of outfit to this thing. If I did go to a lumberjack festival, I would put on a flannel. Curl my beard.
When you walk by all the real lumberjacks, and they're like, "Oh, look at this poser." You walk in feeling all confident.
More hipster than lumberjack.
Yeah. Was that meme? And it was like, oh, whatever. Back in the day, it was like a picture of a lumberjack, and it's a guy in a beard and a flannel, and then an office, an architect or something, and it's like a clean cut dude. And now, like currently, it's like the opposite. The architects, the hipster, and the lumberjacks in a fucking button shirt and and shit. Oh yeah, the times have changed. Can I have a video that I found the other day that I'd like for us to watch? Can I put it in the chat? Can somebody do that?
I know
Art
Justin
can
can
do that.
tell me I can do it. So sure.
Let's see. All right. So the title of this, the thing, it says she's a keeper, but I want to know what you guys think. If this girl is a keeper, or if this is hot or not.
I'm already seeing this thumbnail here. Oh boy. Where's Clyde?
Yeah, I know. I feel bad he's gonna miss out on this, but
Clyde is probably someone who wouldn't enjoy.
That's what he gets for not showing up on Mondays.
All right. I'm doing this. Or I'm getting there.
I just saw the comments. Yeah, I saw in the news today. They said there was a fight or something at the Tampa Bay game. I was like, oh, that's cool.
They had to protect their boy.
Yeah.
I would protect him too.
Hey man, it's your boy.
Is this showing up?
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting it. There we go. Shotgun and a beer through a big ass fish.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah, of course it was.
General turn on or no? What do you guys think? You kissing her after that?
It didn't do it for me.
Didn't move the needle either direction?
No.
I respect her for doing it, but I'm gonna need her to probably wash her face and brush her teeth before we take this any further than like a firm handshake and like congratulations, that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen. More power to you.
Like if she was any uglier, I'd be like, ew. But like she seemed pretty hot, so I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll overlook it. I'm cool with
Carlos is all about it. It appears.
Yeah.
STG is a no for him, dog.
Oh, it's a no from you.
Looks like we're split down the middle here. So, like, I was a no, Justin was a maybe, and you're.
But I like a tomboyish fucking rugged girl like that. So that's right up my alley.
Dag likes his women to manhandle him just a little bit, like not a whole lot of manhandling, just a little bit.
It's not necessarily that. I just like her to be like, "Hey, I got a frog in my pocket. You want to go play down by the creek?" Just some country bumpkin kind of girl who ain't afraid to drink a beer out of a fish. That's all. Or take a piss behind a dumpster. That's those are my two things. Yeah, you gotta be willing to do those.
A frog for me is almost worse than a fish. I don't like frogs; they freak me out. It's a
people with
skin
particular
thing.
aversions.
It's
like the texture.
Yeah, it makes me think that I'm about to grow a bunch of warts.
Well, okay, so what about a dry toad? Same thing or no?
Just the bumpiness too kind of freaks me out.
See, our frogs are smooth for the most part.
Okay.
Are like tree frogs, you know.
So
we don't.
they're like the big-eyed guys. Those are a little bit better.
They've got like the invasive bufo toads or whatever that they brought in for some sugar cane something or other, and now they're all over the state and they're toxic and dogs die and stuff. So so we have the big invasive toads, but I haven't seen them here.
Someone's got like some sort of animal.
Oh yeah,
Chirping.
we moved out the guinea hens, and now there's another chick. I almost thought I was going to get my favorite place to sit and podcast back at the kitchen table, but nope. Oh, damn it. Other animal stuff. But no, we have a chick. We have another chick there now. It's cute though. It was one of our hens hatched the baby, but every time we've tried to let her raise it, it hasn't lived. So she makes a better incubator than mother apparently. So
I don't think this is his name, but how does Dennis do? Is it Dennis, the dog?
Dennis is the big dog. This
Dennis
one
is
is
the
Morty.
Morty.
Yeah.
How does he
That
do
little
with
shithead.
the chicks? Just ignores them.
Well, no, so if we take the chicks out and like we hold them like in the house or something, he's just, on them with his eyes. But we haven't had an incident of him getting it yet or anything, so we don't really know. But when we go outside with like the chickens, he still likes to chase the chickens, and some chickens chase him, and he knows which chickens he can fuck with and which ones will fuck him up. So I was really hoping a rooster would just, hit him a couple times and it'd teach him a lesson. But I heard what you're supposed to do is when they're a puppy, you put them in like a chicken coop with a mother hen and her babies, because that's like the meanest animal on the face of the earth. So like you put them in there with her, and that's supposed to, teach them a lesson. But it's the kind of thing like if you have a pet chimpanzee, you're supposed to beat their ass once or twice when they're real young, so that when they grow up they still think you're stronger than them. It's that kind of thing. You got to do it when they're really young. So that,
it's the same with children. You gotta
children, wives, whatever. You gotta let them know.
I was gonna say Morty kind of gives me the like the Critters vibe. Like I can see him just like devouring some chickens like a living buzzsaw.
Yeah, they're monsters, man. The Boston we had before him like tried to swallow a mouse whole. That was kind of funny. It was like eating a mouse, and it saw me coming for him to get the mouse away from him, and he's just like trying to deep throat this mouse. I managed to fish it out, but it was something. They're monsters, dude, for real.
You have any speaking ofs here, Justin, or no?
Sorry, I'm trying to navigate a storm. It's gotten better. It's not as bad.
I think he's driving in like straight sunlight and he's making all this up.
It doesn't sound well. I guess he's muted. I was like, it doesn't sound as rainy. When he first popped on, it was like, I was like, holy shit! Is it raining or
Midwest tornado weather?
Somebody trying to signal me for help? What's going on?
It's lightened up quite a bit. Hopefully, the problem is it's moving that way, and now I am also moving that way. So I'm probably going to drive back into it.
When you say that way, is it north? Like, is it coming to me? I could use a good storm.
No, it's moving. Right now, it's moving west to east. So.
Oh well.
How are you guys with directions when you're out and about and like, it's if you're somewhere you've never been, do you just like know which way is north and south?
Obviously, you haven't read my 2 most recent Substack posts because I use directions in those pretty regularly.
Sorry. That's all right, Morty. It's fine.
He's got to go bite Dennis, and then that's Dennis's only volume. Yeah, that's Dennis the hound dog.
Antagonist.
Sorry, guys, it's a mess over here. So,
it's entertaining. No, I'm terrible.
I'm the Clyde today.
Par for the course. It is a normal Monday. We are just shit showing it up.
So what were you saying about your Substack? You said you use directions or?
Oh, I use directions in the Substack to explain what direction I'm looking and stuff like that. So I'm good with directions.
Well, yeah, some people, it's like, I remember, like working at like a store. People, how do I get there? And I tell them, we're off of this road. And they're like, okay, so do I make a left or a right onto that road? And I'm like, well, depends on which way you're coming, right? Obviously, it'd be different. I was like, you heading east, you're heading west. And they're like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that? And I'm like, probably more easy than I'm supposed to know that for you to tell you which way to turn, you know, like, okay, you're either going to make a left and a right on Florida Avenue, like one or the other, dude, but I can't tell you which, unless you tell me which way you're coming from, you know? But yeah, some people just don't use direction like at all. So like if somewhere you're familiar with, you should just know. But I've had times like I'm out and about, like in a new city, and I can look at the sun and be like, okay, well that's north, obviously, and that's south, and but then it'll be like overcast days, and I'm like, fuck, I'm lost. I can't.
Are you a landmark guy?
I like street names and addresses,
Pretty basic.
because that's exact. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. If there's an obvious landmark, and it's just like with phones. And I've been talking about this a little bit recently. Like with phones and GPS, like landmarks are almost like don't matter. Like give me the streets and I'll find it. But back in the old days, before like we all had navigation, it was like landmarks be a little more helpful. You drove a little bit differently. And it's funny because I noticed like okay, when I first started driving, like I wasn't necessarily good with street names, but I just knew how to get places. I just, my memory, I could just tell, I just remembered how to get places. And then, you go somewhere, you write down directions or streets, and you actually have to look for them and find them. And it's about 2 miles after here and there. And then, you start getting MapQuest, and that's a little better, but it's still, directions, basically. Nobody telling you to do anything in the moment. But now that we've been using navigation for so long, because I had navigation in my car before it was like on phones, so I've had it for a really long time, and you do get really like dependent. Like it's like if I'm not okay, I know it's the next street, but I have to like look at the fucking thing to like make sure I'm turning in the right place. And I've gotten to the point where I've lately been like not using it when I can avoid using it, like when I really don't need it. So I be better about driving and navigating. I just feel like we've gotten so like. We've got so sorry, Clyde just sent me a text. It's funny. We just got so like dependent on it. It's crazy. But when I was like driving Uber, I was thinking like, man, I never thought that playing Crazy Taxi and Grand Theft Auto would actually be helpful for work. But I mean, it was just like that.
I overthink the landmarks. Someone be like, yeah, there's a boulder at the corner of these two streets or whatever. And I'm like, well, that thing right there could be a boulder, but maybe it's not. Maybe they have a different definition of a boulder than I do.
A boulder is a poor landmark to use. I mean, because they could just
I've always been more of a fan of like actual addresses and street names and numbers and stuff like that, especially like growing up really rurally. All of the different like county roads and rural roads have a number, and there's a logical progression to if you know where the so like if somebody gave me an address out based on like I know where this road is, so if I go in that direction, then based on the progression of the way they number these roads, I should be able to find it here pretty soon. And like so like that's the way I prefer it. I mean, yeah, if there is something like very, very apparent, like, all right, there's going to be this giant barn that's half fallen in. Like once you come to that, the next road up, you're going to take a right. Like, okay, I can get down with some of that. But yeah, if it's like a boulder, like what's the fucking boulder? I don't know.
Yeah, or if it's like, or if it's just somebody just trying to generally just, it's by the thing where there's the thing. Oh yeah, like so I have to drive there, but it's like, oh yeah, but so funny story. When I first moved to Lakeland, which that's where Publix, the grocery store is like centered. That's their headquarters. And I first moved there. I'm in a bar drinking, and some dude, he's using a landmark to tell me where something is, and he goes, "It's by the giant birthday cake in the sky." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "The giant birthday cake in the sky," and I'm like, all right, dude, what the fuck ever. Like, he's drunk. Sure, man, whatever. I move on. And it's like a year later, I'm driving down, I think it's Memorial or whatever, and you drive past the Publix warehouses, and their water tower is a giant fucking birthday cake, candles and all, and I'm like, oh my God, he wasn't just insane. Like, he meant this thing, I guess,
This is real.
Yep. It's a giant, it's at their bakery. So, it makes sense. Yeah.
I'm going to tell Justin that my house is the bright green one with the red shutters.
Never find you.
I can't.
My wife was making fun of me over the weekend because
that's right.
I got a couple new shirts and I was looking.
That's
at
a nice yellow shirt you have.
Yeah, thanks. There was one that I didn't. I liked it, but I didn't really like it. But it was like the better color alternative than some of the others. So anyway, I pick up these 2 shirts, and one of them is, as far as I can tell, one of them is like a dark gray, and the other one is like a brownish color. And she said, "Why are you getting a green shirt? That's not really your color." I was like, "Which one is green?" I was like, "Are you talking about this one?" And I held up the brown one. She goes, "No, this one." And she said, "This is green." I was like, "That's not green. That's gray." She said, "No, it's green." And then I look over at the table and I was like, "No, this is gray." And I pick up one that's like very, very gray. And she's like, "Yes, that is gray." I'm like, "Yes, I know this is gray. That is also gray." And she says, "No, it's green." And then all the kids tell me it's green too when I get home with it. So whatever the fuck they want to tell me, it's a gray shirt and I'm going to treat it as such. And,
I was surprised when Stephanie was on the stream the other night after I didn't know that she was black. Did you know that?
1% Jew.
No, I didn't pick up on that, but I don't see color. Not in the same way Justin doesn't see color, but no,
you don't see color in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just so unracist that I don't see color.
I'm just kidding, Justin. Your wife is white.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to see her tattoos that well if she wasn't white.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what the giveaway was. But.
Oh my goodness.
Anything?
Yeah, I got
weekend? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say how much drinking I did this weekend. I'm recovering a little bit today.
Oh, I mean, I asked anything happened over the weekend. We got that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if you meant a specific news item or something.
I didn't pay attention. So
I
barely even watched football yesterday. It's kind of busy, but did you watch football there?
No. Football isn't allowed in my house. So I, checked. I checked. We had people over and we were hanging out, but I, was checking in on the phone. And one of our guests does fantasy football as well, so it sort of lessened the blow for me because he was, doing fantasy football stuff and checking his phone or fantasy football stuff.
You guys can check on that together.
Yep. And then me, Niall, and our friend are all talking about football stuff, and I'm vaguely sounding like I sort of know what I'm talking about. And I think that my wife was getting pretty frustrated by it all. So I think she's. We've always been anti football people, and her having me be sort of football, appreciator at all. She's making some adjustments.
She's starting to love you less now that you've become one of the sports baller guys.
I'm glad I could finally give her a reason. So, well, me and Niall are just going to go up to the bar and have a couple beers on Sundays if we need to watch sports. That's all. I don't get any fucking channels anyhow, so. I don't know how to watch it.
You don't have rabbit ears that'll get Fox or CBS.
I haven't set it up yet.
Get the game coming in. It just cuts in and out.
We have a big aerial antenna that we used to have when we lived in the tiny house over on the other side of the property, but I haven't brought it over here and drilled a hole in the floor and ran a cable into the new house yet because I haven't. We've got internet in the Roku. I could probably find it somewhere on the Roku, but I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't know Aaron Rodgers went on Bill Maher. That would be entertaining. I don't really watch Bill Maher.
Aaron Rodgers, who's
the Packers quarterback.
Oh, okay.
It's Justin's boy.
I enjoy Bill Maher's rants or whatever, but I haven't ever really been a huge fan of the panel stuff. Usually whenever he has the panel, there are too many psychotic leftists that just won't stop with the bullshit, and I'm just I can't listen to these people be that stupid. It hurts me.
It's like a Jon Stewart kind of thing where it's he, even though he's pretty lefty, he definitely makes some good points and does, but a lot of times when the Jon Stewart especially ends up advocating more of government causes the problem in the first place, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed Jon Stewart on the Daily Show, and that was when I was more lefty, but still if that was still a thing, I'd probably watch it. Unless there was a Confederate flag issue going on, because then it was just a week of Confederate flag bullshit, and I couldn't deal with that. Jon Stewart?
No, I think Maher, maybe. Has his own solo podcast. Bill Maher will be yeah, so I want to get the rights perspective, and then turn to Ben Shapiro. And then I'll be well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the Daily Show when it was on, or when Jon Stewart was on it, and I was in college. Like, I was super right wing, but I enjoyed it just because, like, I guess I understood that it was supposed to be humorous. Like, it wasn't necessarily a serious thing. Or maybe that was my mistake. I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was intended to be humorous, so that's the way I watched it. And like, he would have guests on, and they would be like super serious, and I'd just laugh and think these people are retarded.
A lot of times I wouldn't even watch like the guest. I just watched the first half, and then when they get to the guests, that was boring to me. But they do the monologue thing in the beginning, and they do some sort of bit or on scene thing, if I remember right, and then they do the guest, and a lot, and especially when I was younger, and it's the having, I don't know, Gore Vidal on or something like that. That didn't interest me. I don't know if he was ever on, but just people from the news, didn't really care about that, and probably wouldn't really much today either. So.
I was never really into the sitting at the desk, a little picture comes up, and then they make a joke about it bit, or I don't know what that's called, that most of these like late night show comedians do, unless it was what's his face from SNL, who just recently died, but I can't remember his name. The funniest guy alive. What is his name?
Yeah, fuck. Oh God.
Why did his name literally just escape me?
Norm Macdonald.
Yes, that's it. Yes. Thank you. Jeez Louise.
He was hilarious. He'd make all kinds of gay jokes and race jokes.
Yeah, he was good, and I guess the story goes that he made too many OJ jokes, and that's why they took him off. Because I guess OJ was friends with but he made a lot of Clinton jokes and like Clinton murdering people, like the Clintons murdering people jokes and shit too back then. Like, it was good. We went through and we rewatched the ones that they'll let you still watch because they've chopped the episodes down to like really short. They've taken a lot of the skits I remember I couldn't find anyhow, but yeah, some of the stuff they did leave in. Even I was like, damn, this shit was kind of based.
Yeah, Norm was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was good. Rob Schneider, I liked. And Rob Schneider is kind of interesting these days too. I don't know if you guys follow him at all or whatnot, but he's he's getting to be relatively based.
He was on with Tom Woods one time, I think.
Probably. There was he's like really into like the Mises Institute, I think. Yeah, he's posted pictures of him reading, like he was reading Cronyism by oh gosh, what's his name? Patrick Newman. And post a picture of that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, he did like some vax shit, and some other stuff. Just especially I think
one
with
of these
COVID
days,
stuff, he's very anti.
One of these days, he's going to be on Brian McWilliams' Lions of Liberty show. That's Brian had Rob Schneider, and then he lost him, but he's going to get him one of these days.
Oh, that'll be cool. Is the Lions of Liberty, like, are they still like a thing, or like what, are they just do their own shows now, or what happened with them?
There's still the group feed that has all of the shows, and then they also have their own individual feeds for the individual shows. Mark is actually starting a new show separate from Lions of Liberty sometime in the next month or so. So his show, the Lions of Liberty Monday show, I'm not sure what they're doing with that. But Brian still does Electric Liberty Land, which has become Mad Age Daydream or something, and then John still does what used to be Felony Friday, which is now Finding Freedom on Thursday. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they still have all the stuff.
Freedom Friday for like 2 weeks, and I think somebody else already had that name or something. You had to switch.
Well, that was an interesting transition when he moved from Felony Friday to Finding Freedom on Thursdays, because Friday is Friday's a tough podcast day. Like, you don't want to necessarily release shows on a Friday; they don't get nearly the traction. So like, it was a strategic move to try to get more clicks for the show, and also to kind of rebrand a little bit with the when your name of your show is Felony Friday, then you kind of pigeonholed yourself into a very specific genre that like it's going to be on Friday and it's going to be with felons, and that's like you can't really.
I really like that
so.
show. Like when I first started listening to Lions of Liberty was the first podcast I ever like listened to, found, got in podcasting, whatever. And so I listened to a lot of them, and I really like the Felony Friday ones. And I'm very like anti like police state and prison bullshit and all that, especially victimless crimes, whatnot. So like that I feels like a really important show, but definitely got to a point where it was like, fuck, it just got like depressing, listening to it. But it was really good. I mean, I think it's again really important show. But it is kind of funny looking back too, thinking like because John almost seems like the most like kind of like straight edge of the three, and for him to be doing like the prison, like that, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's fine, obviously, but it just sort of struck me as a little odd that
like
that was the case.
Yeah,
that's the word. Sorry, I'm still getting it together today, guys. Not like I would have ever come up with that word anyhow, but
no, ad word sometimes comes to me, sometimes doesn't. Our friend of the show, Steven, who was on Saturday night, his
that was awesome.
is
Good talking to you, man.
Fox and Sons Coffee. Is it foxandSonsCoffee.com, Steven? You can throw the link in the comments too. At some point, I'm going to get a bag and I will be drinking it live on air, but we can't seem to get our schedules together.
I'm gonna send him some seeds, get some coffee. I was going through my seeds yesterday too, man. So I'm getting some shit together for you. I'll get it in the mail, I promise. Going up to Tennessee this weekend for a meetup. Should be a good time. I'm gonna bring all my old seeds that I need to get rid of. I'm gonna trade and stuff. Some people should be cool. Oh, here we go.
If this is a memoir, if this were a memoir,
yeah,
I would put juicy things from my own life.
Right. Like what kind of things would you put in there that nobody knows?
Well, I guess the biggest thing that nobody knows about me is I'm a deeply closeted gay man.
What? I mean, that's you're a gay man?
I'm not gay. I said I'm deeply closeted.
What?
I'm as straight as an arrow.
So you're a gay man who won't admit it?
No. Do you know what deeply closeted means?
Yeah.
It means a man who will not acknowledge that he's gay.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I'm not gay.
He had some good albums with he did say something on The View. It's crazy, awesome. But he had some albums, and he had one skit, and it was like this like country music singer, and they're like, all right, let's hear your new stuff, and they were all like very like gay songs. It was really funny. I'm not gonna try to do it justice, but check out some of his actual albums and stuff. They're pretty good. Back when comedy albums were a thing.
What a guy.
I used to have a CD when I was a kid. I got it as our local radio station did like the, prank calls, I remember getting a CD of those and fucking. Now I can't be like I can listen to something like that so many times, but I listened to it a lot. But content was different back then. We didn't have so much of it, so you could really listen to the same shit again and again.
I had a Mitch Hedberg album downloaded. Mitch Hedberg was fucking hilarious and like so blitzed out of his mind all the time. It added to the hilarity because sometimes he would tell a joke and it would just be flat, dead ass, like not funny at all. But the way he delivered it was just hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had that. It was that real like low stoner thing. I'm against picketing, but I don't know how to show it. It's fucking amazing.
All right.
Yeah, Adam Sandler had a few good ones too.
A frightening moment this week for First Lady Hillary Clinton. Her plane en route to the former emergency landing when it was discovered that a frayed wire in the engine was causing serious malfunction. The president was said to be furious and demanded an immediate investigation of what went wrong with Operation Frayed Wire. Astronaut Shannon Lucid back on Earth after a record 6 months in space was welcomed home Tuesday with a phone call from President Clinton. Said the president, quote, "This is just the beginning. One day we'll be able to send an American into space indefinitely, and I hope it's a woman." Speaking in Australia this week about the problems of being America's first lady, Hillary Clinton joked, quote, "Perhaps I'll walk around with a bag over my head when I come out into public and have no opinions and never express them publicly or privately." To which the president replied, "Yes, yes, oh God, yes." As new questions arise about Hillary Clinton's role in Whitewater, the president appears to be distancing himself from the first lady. Earlier today in his weekly radio address, the president insisted, "Hey, I sleep with hundreds of girls. I can't vouch for all of them, you know?" In court documents made public this week, independent counsel Kenneth Starr told a federal judge that Hillary Clinton is now a, quote, "central figure in the Whitewater criminal probe." Reacting to the news, President Clinton called the investigation a partisan witch hunt, vowing, quote, "If the First Lady is somehow convicted and has to go to jail, I will do everything in my power to wait 2 weeks to start dating." With growing indications that First Lady Hillary Clinton may be indicted for her role in Whitewater, President Clinton is reportedly starting to prepare for that possibility. Plans so far include renting a hall, hiring a band, and making a giant bathtub with margaritas.
Pretty based.
That's fine. Oh, there goes Justin. He finally he's back.
You know what's really funny?
I thought he got
like,
Clinton for a second.
almost. You know what's really funny is like Hillary for 8 years of Bill's presidency was the butt of every single joke, and then somehow she was suddenly taken seriously as a person and becomes like Secretary of State and all this other stuff, and like runs for whatever she was in Congress or whatever in New York. Like she was the butt of every joke for 8 years, and it was the same for fucking Joe Biden. Like Joe Biden. There was literally in the 2016 election just an entire website dedicated to memes making fun of Joe Biden, and then we're supposed to like take this guy seriously as the president 4 years later. American politics is fucking humorous, especially the way the left does it. Like they take the person who's literally the meme vice president and then make sure that he's becomes the meme president.
Did people actually think that she was going to get indicted back then? I was a little baby during Whitewater stuff. So
I was too young to know or care. I just have to go with what I remember hearing my parents talk about, and I don't remember that.
I don't.
Yeah, SNL definitely sucks these days. Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't remember what her exact connection was to it. Like I think the whole thing was like she knew that Bill was fucking the interns, but like didn't we know that from when he was governor of Arkansas? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Like the Whitewater stuff was like the 80s, right? And it kind of came to the fore once Clinton assumed office in the 90s. Isn't that how it happened?
Right, like this was years of stuff that was kind of building up, and because it was the Jennifer, whatever her face is, Jennifer Flowers, I think was their name, and like there were a whole bunch of them. Linda Tripp, like he had been plowing secretaries for some years, and then then there's the whole Monica Lewinsky and the dress and everything else, and like I think the whole indictment thing was that Hillary knew all of this was going on and just didn't say anything, which again, like pretty sure there
were like shady real estate dealings or something too, I think.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some weird shit like that.
Bought property and sold it for 20x the amount, Steven says.
No, I mean that's just good real estate. I mean, I don't know what the problem with that is.
That's a BlackRock tactic.
Yeah, I think that like the years there were like, so I never know if, because everybody has their favorite era of Saturday Night Live, and I never know if it's just because that's when you were of the age, but like I definitely think like the very late 80s through like maybe the mid 90s are like the best, but I really do have some affinity up through maybe about even like 03, 04. When Bush first became president, they had some good shit there. And then of course seeing Will Ferrell when Will Ferrell became a cast member after a couple years, he had some really good sketches I like. But he did Janet Reno. He did the Janet Reno that was just fucking amazing. Looks just like Janet Reno. Horrifying. But yeah, I really like, the Adam Sandler and fucking like the Rod Schneider and David Spade, those fuckers, Chris Farley. Fuck, that was good.
There's like
Will
Hartman,
Ferrell.
Bob.
Will Ferrell playing Alex Trebek for Celebrity Jeopardy. I had every Celebrity Jeopardy clip downloaded or like saved on my computer. I just said and watch them. Like those are hilarious. They never get old.
Who is the Jeopardy guy now?
Oh fuck! I think it's
watched
the
him all
chick.
time.
I think it's the chick from Big Bang Theory. The oh fuck! I don't know their names. The brunette one with the real dorky looking hair.
Okay.
Sheldon's girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay, that is the probably the worst show on
Yeah, it's pretty
the
bad.
worst show of all time.
And I've seen way more episodes than I would like to admit. But yeah, it's pretty rough for sure. It's just like you're watching. It's like, oh yeah, this is what retarded sitcom television is.
What it's turned
What's
to.
worse, Big Bang or How I Met Your Mother?
Big Bang.
Probably Big Bang. I haven't even seen much How I Met Your Mother, but it seems like it's.
If anything else, the popularity of Big Bang gives it adds points to it because it's so popular. It was like one of the biggest shows. Those people made so much money, and it sucks so bad that I have to hate it more than a smaller or a show that was. I mean, I guess How I Met Your Mother was pretty popular, but I didn't see it as much, or I didn't feel it was like that. So I'm getting some points there. I didn't watch much of How I Met Your Mother.
I think that dude has a podcast. That guy with 3 names in How I Met Your Mother. I don't never forget his name or never remember his name. I think he has a
Neil Patrick
podcast
Harris.
now.
And
Yeah.
NPH. That's the easy way to say it.
Gotcha. And I'm like, do people actually like listen to these actors, actresses, or the Obamas? Do they listen to those podcasts? Like the Obamas, obviously no one was listening to because they didn't like renew the season, right? And I think there was a
What kind of nerd
podcast
would
with
listen to that?
Barack and that guy who can't sing that everyone says he can sing. Springsteen, weren't they doing a podcast?
Oh yeah, they're buddies now. Yeah, they hang out together and shit.
During the pandemic, Zach Braff and Donald Faison did a podcast where they went through every episode of Scrubs, and I did actually listen to that because I love Scrubs. I've watched Scrubs from beginning to end like at least a dozen times, if not more. So I actually did listen to that, and it was pretty entertaining. But otherwise, no, I don't listen to anything. And I caught the fucking tsunami. Fuck.
There it is. I guess I would listen to like behind the scenes podcasts on like The Office or something. Because that's one of the few shows I've seen like every season. Probably twice.
Yeah,
every show.
I was listening to Gomez watches Seinfeld for a little bit just as an excuse to rewatch Seinfeld, and that's not a watch along show or anything. And then I like there's a show that I like where it's a watch along show, but they do like horror movies or whatnot, and it's funny, and they do I like some of the behind the scenes stuff, especially like practical effects. They talk about, oh, here's how they did this effect and that effect, and I really like it's I don't know, something about like 80s horror. It's like the last like but before CGI. So it was like the last real like movie making, kind of shit. But it's not just 80s horror that he does, but it's some behind. I found a lot of, good movies to watch from listening to shows like that. But yeah, I don't know, but that's not like a big celebrity that does it. Just some, because a lot of these people, they're just so like vapid anyhow. Like, why would you what do they have to say? Like I can understand a nerd listening to an architecture podcast. But the type of nerd that will listen to Barack Obama do a podcast, that's weird. That's dumb.
It's very odd. I would probably listen to a Trump podcast for entertainment value only, though. Like, listen.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's
the whole point
an
of Trump
actor.
anyhow. Yeah,
He's a reality star, so it's a little different.
Do y'all
Just
listen
watching him do-
to Lex Friedman's podcast?
No.
Mm-mm.
Why? would
I listened to it for a while, but
a thing.
I listened to it for a while, but like every episode would end up becoming him and whoever the other super genius that he had on the show talking about why they hated religion and why they didn't think God existed, and it all came back to because they had a bad experience as a kid in a church with a bunch of bigots. It's like, so your atheism isn't based on an actual belief; it's based on like personal experience. Like, okay, I get that. That's what a lot of religion is based on too. But you're these super smart people telling me that God doesn't exist, but you don't have any proof that God doesn't exist other than because somebody treated you mean when you were a kid. Like, you're kind of
right, or because something doesn't make. Oh well, if there was a God, then why would this happen? You know, and it's like, well, that's not really right. It's like, because you also that assumes that God gives a fuck about us. You know, right. He might not. Whatever. You know,
y'all are literally geniuses of this planet, and like the best reason you can come up with is because somebody was mean to you when you were a kid. Like, I'm sorry. Eventually, like. The entertainment value of listening to them talk about smart people shit just kind of eventually waned because they always would go back to talking about why they're atheists, and I just couldn't do it.
And yet it is just so funny, to be like, because I totally understand like thinking religion or Christianity or whatever is stupid, right? Like, or you grew up in a church. This is there were a lot of stupid people that had a lot of stupid reasoning for things too, okay, like I get that, like I was pretty anti like religion for a while, but even then, like that wasn't like, that never made me make a leap to atheist, because that doesn't follow just because a bunch of people in this building that hang out and believe this thing, and even let's say whatever religion they believe, I might think is total bullshit. Doesn't mean that there's not a God, right? So I mean, I was even agnostic was the most atheist I ever got, just because even though I was pretty anti like religion, like it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that there's no God,
Yeah, it's like this nun beat me with a ruler when I was a kid at a Catholic boarding school, so that means God doesn't exist. I'm like, no, it probably just means you were a bad fucking kid.
Yeah, or nuns are bitches. I mean, that's also totally, viable thing. Either one, but again, doesn't, I mean, you could have had the worst things that happen to kids in Catholic Church happen to you. Doesn't mean there's not a God. Again, it just backs up my theory that he doesn't care about us. That's all. He just doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't mean it's not there. I'm just more and more thinking it's like the Rick and Morty where he creates a universe to power his car battery, I just really feel like that we're in something like that, and we're serving some purpose, and we'd be horrified to find out what it really was, because it's probably menial.
Magoo's in the chat, and I hope he appreciates my my name today. But I do feel kind of bad for using it, because I actually need to get this verified. So I might actually write to Owen Benjamin to pay away my gay for using a bear name without getting verified. Also, you guys talked about him being on Instagram. He got nuked from Instagram too by Andrew Tate. This was like last week. And so he's like, no,
shit.
Except for, is it unauthorized TV?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
BitChute and Odyssey as well. And just look up Why Didn't They Laugh on Spotify, and you'll get all of his streams.
Well, they let him on Spotify, huh?
Yeah, I think they still think it might be his comedy show, but it's really just his live streams. It's just under his old podcast where he used to analyze comedy, which he will still analyze comedy on his live stream.
Yeah, that's what I thought his show was years ago when I started listening. I was like, this isn't analyzing comedy.
He's ranting about something.
Yeah.
Or attacking Joe Rogan for being 3 inches tall.
Yep, towhead. Yeah, no toe in Idaho. Whoa. See, I remember. God, it probably was like 3 or 4 years ago now. Jesus, where does the time go?
Got that COVID brain fog.
Yeah, COVID time.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
COVID time is insane.
That is so crazy. That was over 2 years ago. That shit fucking started, man. I remember being just so floored. What the fuck is wrong with everybody? This is stupid.
Hey, speaking of, it's official. Joe Biden declared it. COVID is over.
Did he say
really?
Yep. He said COVID is over and we can move on to tackling inflation now.
Oh, great.
Good. Yeah.
Inflation
Get right on that.
lockdowns.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. I heard somebody. I don't remember who. I don't know if it was a politician or somebody talking the other day, and they were like, like the whole 6 foot distancing was totally made up and shit. And he's like, dude, like people killed themselves because they had to close their business because they couldn't operate in 6 feet. You know what I mean? People fucking killed themselves because of this arbitrary fucking thing. Like that's so insane. That. It's something like bureaucrats, so they can just go, let's just make up some arbitrary thing. We know it's arbitrary, and we're just going to enforce it on people. And who gives a fuck? It's just so fucking crazy to me. Like back in the Great Depression, like FDR, like when they like set like interest rates and shit, he'd just pick a number because he thought it was lucky. Like it wasn't any science behind it. I'm just like, dude, like this affects people. Come on. Oh, jeez.
Actually, inflation lockdowns are probably just $5 gas, right?
Yeah, basically.
That's the way to do it.
But look, inflation is only it's only moved like an inch. There's very, very little inflation, okay? And that's what Joe Biden said. Like he was questioned as to what his message would be for the American citizens who are struggling with inflation. He was like, "Oh, inflation is just a little bit. It's only moved like an inch. It's little. It's not even worth talking about. There's so little inflation."
An inch? Is that how you measure monetary quantity?
When you're senile, yes.
We've got a whole hog's head of inflation. That was a unit of measurement back in my day, Mark, if you didn't know.
No, I got you. Have you?
My car gets
I'm
40
pretty
rods
sure
to a
I
hog's head,
posted-
and that's the way I likes it.
That sounds like the backcountry folk in Albion Seed. I think that's probably how they measured stuff.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
I posted
probably.
the link of him actually saying that in the Twitter chat. If you head over there and pull that video up.
Oh, man, I'll have to
Oh, boy.
get with the social medias.
What am I looking for?
I was a bit checked out for a while.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah, I'm working again a lot this week, so it's going to be this week too. But what are you going to do? Man, Justin, you do drive a lot. You're like me.
Yeah, how far away is this school of theirs?
It's about an hour.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, when we moved, the kids stayed in school where we had moved from because they're freshman and 7th grader, and that's where all their friends are, and yada yada yada. Honestly, I think it would have been better to have moved them to the school up here and get like a fresh start, but whatever. But it's only I only have them half the time, so it's only on the days that I have them that I have to drive down here, and it's not terrible.
All right, here we go.
Not that. But guess what we
a
are?
little bit behind here.
Oh God, just those 2 words I heard him say just sound so bad.
Mr. President, as you know, last Tuesday, the annual inflation rate came in at 8.3%. The stock market
He looks like
nosedived.
that Jeff Dunham
People
puppet.
are shocked by their
Old man,
grocery
look at him.
bills. What can you do better and faster?
Well, first of all, let's put this in perspective. Inflation rate month to month was just an inch, hardly at all.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it's good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not. Maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. It's
It's the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that, but guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely. It's been basically even.
Mr. President, as you know, last Tuesday,
So my wife's
It's been-
cancer's in remission, doctor? No, not at all. But this is great news.
It's not getting any worse. It's just,
Yeah, we've seen no big spikes. She
It's all
still
about
only has
perspective.
6 months to live. You're fine. Yeah.
it's only
Freaking
a little
awful.
bit worse. It's not that much. It's not like it's getting significantly worse. It's kind of hanging right
Just an
around there,
inch. Just an inch.
God, that is a weird unit of measurement.
Yeah,
for
it's
inflation
odd.
anyway. Like you could probably
Yeah.
measure the blood clots they've been pulling out of people who have passed away after having the jab in inches, but not inflation. You don't measure that in inches.
But if you like,
Ooh, I heard
if
about
you
some
like
of that.
lined
It's
up
weird.
numbers, like you got 5% inflation, you increase that by an inch. That's actually, I mean,
how
it's
many?
not
How big are these
small.
pages? That's
Yeah, it depends. Like, are you talking about
what
on
is
an
this
8,
inch here?
on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or are we doing this on like the whiteboard and
Well,
at the front
each
of
number
a
is an
classroom?
inch, so I mean, we're getting close to. I was gonna make a dick joke, but I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's probably best. Don't
Um,
make dick jokes. We make retard jokes.
That's gosh, I was looking for it, and it's not.
Oh, making a dick joke, that would have been retarded.
Now I'm stressed out. I can't find my friend here.
It's in the same place it's always been.
There
retard.
it is.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.